What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel, and today it is my week 18 power rankings video. And full disclosure, I already made a video and I posted it about the Damar Hamlin situation, and this is the only mention of that situation that I'm going to make. If you want to know my thoughts on it, you may not like them all that much, but there's a video about that already posted, so we'll talk about that stuff there. As yeah, so like and subscribe to the channel, and let's get into the power rankings. And as always, guys, we go 8 by 8 with these power rankings. Makes it a little easier to present. And we'll start at the bottom again with Houston. They gave everything they had, man. The last couple of weeks, they clearly had nothing left to give. And they still haven't locked up the number one pick. All they have to do is lose or tie in the next game to get the number one pick. If they win and the Bears lose, the Bears will actually have the number one pick in the draft. And I think they're kind of, I don't know what that Bears performance was, but it seemed a lot like tanking to me. The Colts, I drop them down one. Denver, with the Hackett gone, they've been playing a little bit better. They're still quite terrible. But the Colts are just so bad. My Giants locked up a playoff spot by absolutely just running right through them. The Colts never looked like a threat at all in that game. Really made my boys look amazing. So thanks for that. I bumped the Cardinals up just because I was dropping the Bears down a spot. Cardinals didn't really do anything to impress anyone. I left the Falcons and the Panthers sort of where they were at. The Panthers, they made a run. They had the Bucks, but the Bucks are just one of those teams this year where, they just aren't playing well, and then they'll have those moments where they're the exact team that we thought they'd all be. And the Panthers are just, they are what they are. The Rams, I dropped them down one. They came back down to earth as well. Baker Mayfield doing Baker Mayfield things, playing as the most inconsistent quarterback in the NFL. So there was that. Moving on to the next group here in the Saints. How? The Saints screwed up everyone's parlay with the Eagles this week. Whatever. Can never count on the damn Eagles, that's for sure. The Bucks, Raiders, and Browns, I left them in the same spot. Tampa did what they were supposed to do, but they're making a huge deal out of these games all year that they should have just been winning. I'm just not impressed by them at all. The Raiders, they gave quite the run to the 49ers as well. I don't know that they're going to win another game this year. I think I'd say the same thing here for the Cleveland Browns. They beat Washington, but I'm not going to move them up past some of these other teams just because they won a single game. I did drop down the Titans, the Jets, and Washington. A bunch of spots there. Titans continuing their free fall. They still could sneak in and win the division if they beat the Jags on Saturday. I hope not. But it seems like the number 4 seed in both conferences are setting up to get absolutely destroyed in the playoffs. As it stands right now, the Cowboys will play the Bucks. I think that game is actually locked in. And no, because I think the Cowboys can still win the division. I don't know. But the Bucks are playing I think they're playing the Eagles or they're playing the Cowboys in the first round. So it's setting up for the 4 seed to lose there, and then the Jags or the Titans are the 4 seed in the AFC, and I believe that means they've got the Ravens with Lamar probably coming back, or the Chargers, which I guess the Chargers can get caught. They found a bit of a groove against the Rams, which hopefully they can carry over to the next couple weeks. The Jets are eliminated from the playoffs. Washington's eliminated from the playoffs. Drop them down. When you're in must-win situations and you're not delivering in the last couple of weeks the way that you were supposed to, that says a lot. That says a lot. The exact opposite is true for Pittsburgh, who has seemingly just found some life here. And that's just, I give all the credit in the world to Mike Tomlin. He's one of the best coaches in the league. And this is what happens when you have an amazingly well-coached football team. You get what the Steelers are doing. You get what the Patriots are doing. And when you're not a well-coached football team, you get what's happened with Denver and Arizona, and Tampa Bay. So it's just, it really speaks to how important having a quality coaching staff with a scheme that they believe in, with really good situational football, with really good motivation and getting guys prepared and having guys overachieve. The Steelers are a great example of that, because I don't know that people expected them to be really competing for a playoff spot this late in the year. Over the next group, I bumped the Patriots up, the Dolphins down. The Dolphins just no consistency at all. They're so inconsistent. They're so consistently inconsistent that it's really hard to get a gauge on them. On, again, the Tua stuff, you just don't know what's happening there. I bumped up the Seahawks and the Jags, mostly because the Dolphins, I'm dropping them down. And when I dropped down Washington as well, which saw the Seahawks go up. I moved the Jags up, again, only because the Dolphins went down. And that was just mostly, I wouldn't want to move them up because you beat Houston. So how could I reward you for that? The Lions, despite their win, because I'm not rewarding them for beating crappy teams, they really only dropped down because I bumped Green Bay up for their amazing performance against Minnesota, who you can see they're dropped out of the top 8. They're dropping down 4 spots. I dropped down the Ravens 3 spots just because without Lamar Jackson, there just isn't a lot of faith that I can put in this team to win games. But Green Bay, go back to them. Unbelievable. This is the team that we expected them to be all year, but because of the youth there and them trying to figure out how to use these guys and create an offensive scheme and a defensive scheme that is conducive to their skill set and not overly complicated and not confusing some of these younger players who are really raw athletes, but no one was ever accusing Christian Watson of being a high football IQ guy. So he's sort of learning along the way, and then with the injuries they picked up in the offensive line, they're finally clicking now, and this is the team that everyone expected Green Bay to be. And them going into a situation on Sunday Night Football where it's win and you're in, that's they've set themselves up to really succeed, and they're playing Detroit, who outside of a couple weeks hasn't really been able to play defense. They've been getting better at it, but I feel like Green Bay, who really did beat themselves in their first meeting with the Detroit Lions this year, I think that now they're a much better team. They're a lot more confident. They kind of know what they're doing with all these young players and with their offensive play calling and their game planning. I think that Green Bay is going to win that game, make the playoffs, and unfortunately for Detroit fans, and I hate to say it, they're going to barely miss out on the playoffs, but thank God that the Rams are playing like crap as well, so you still get that nice little draft pick. So you're going to be working with probably two top 15, top 16 draft picks, and you guys are going to continue to get amazing. You guys are going to continue to grow, and you'll probably be a real threat to make the playoffs. Probably will make the playoffs as long as you don't completely screw up the offseason and get a lot of injuries to making the playoffs, but it does seem like the clock has struck midnight on Detroit. No fault of their own, just Green Bay's finally figured it out. And there's a lot of movement here within my top 8, other than my number 1 team, the 49ers, who I'm leaving in there. The Giants and the Chargers, I bumped them up 2 spots. The Cowboys and the Bengals go up 1 spot. This is from Minnesota dropping down, and the Baltimore Ravens dropping down as well, which is why we get the boost for the Giants, Chargers, Cowboys, and Bengals. I dropped down the Eagles 2 spots, which is why we get the Bills and the Chiefs moving up. The Eagles, I dropped them down because, man, they have been in these must-win situations where it's like just win, you lock up the number one seed, and they have been folding under the pressure of just that, which is very concerning. I mean, I'm a Giants fan, so it's not really that concerning for me. I hope the Eagles are one and done, as the Cowboys as well. But as trying to speak from a neutral perspective, it's very concerning when the Eagles have had these last couple of games to lock up that number one seed, especially this week against the Saints, who are not that good, who are playing Taysom Hill at quarterback. How are you not finishing this season off? How are you not locking this up? How have you put yourself in a position where now you have to beat the Giants next week? Granted, the Giants are locked in at the 6th seed, so I don't know how much of the starters are going to play for the Giants and for how long, if it'll be treated like that's sort of like the third preseason game, how it used to be back when there was 4 preseason games where starters will play the first half or so, and then they'll sort of maneuver guys out. I don't know that Saquon Barkley plays at all, because he's gotten banged up a little bit, and you sort of don't want to risk losing him. Daniel Jones will probably play the first half. But when you don't have any type of movement that you can make, I think that the Eagles are sort of walking into a situation now where they're kind of getting handed this. So then they're going to have to take that week off where they're going to have to really get it together. They're going to have to figure it out, and figure it out fast. Because the likelihood is you're going to be playing the Cowboys. You're playing the Cowboys, Giants, or Packers in the next round. None of those games are going to be easy outs. The Packers have seemed to figure it out. The Giants are playing with a lot of confidence again. And then, of course, the Cowboys have a Super Bowl ready defense. So you are really got to get this train back on the tracks if you're the Eagles. You know, you gotta learn how to finish games. I know they scored a lot of points against the Cowboys and lost, but I mean, it's a team game. You really have to finish the season. You really have to. The Cowboys weren't in any dire situation to have to win that game, and I know Jalen Hurts isn't playing, but you have all these other guys on the team, all these other great players. And the coaching staff also needs to be able to scheme around a guy like Gardner Minshew, who's probably the best backup quarterback on any roster in the league right now, at least one that I can think of off the top of my head. You can leave it in the comment section if you think that there's a better one. I'm sure that there is. I'm just not thinking up right now. But, finish the season, Eagles. Finish the damn season. And there it is, all 32 teams ranked top to bottom. Make sure to hit the like and the subscribe button. Is the freest, easiest, and quickest way you can support the growth of this channel. And leave your comments on the power rankings in the comments section below. And check out all the other videos on my channel that I post every week. So thanks for coming, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.